Let's clear the air about Project Marvel, some confusion regarding the project with former San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to Locked On Spurs, we're the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Ken's Fight San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Happy hump day, everybody. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. And as always, we thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available where we get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, and Ken's Fight Plus app, YouTube. You know what to do. Go subscribe right now. You guys are the everydayers. Keep coming here to Locked On Spurs for all things silver and black. What are we talking about today? We have a very, very special guest. Former San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg. Yes, you heard that correct, everybody. The former mayor is joining us here on Locked On Spurs in just a few minutes. And we're going to catch up on all things Project Marvel. For those of y'all who don't know, Project Marvel is not a new thing. It's been around for decades. And it definitely crossed into Ron's tenure as the San Antonio mayor. Now, he'll clear up some miscommunications and misunderstandings regarding the project, how you can get involved, and so many other things, such as the impact that the entertainment district, along with the Spurs proposed downtown Spurs Arena, as well as development on the east side, and that broken promise that was given to that side of San Antonio, what this project will do to make amends for that. It is such a detailed chat with the former mayor that I really think y'all are going to be well informed and be ready for the November election. And he tells you exactly how you get involved to get the vote out, to get the word out and vote yes for propositions A and B. Now, for those who are unfamiliar with that, basically proposition A is to help redevelop the fund some redevelopment of the city's east side, specifically where the Spurs play right now, but the Freeman Coliseum. Yeah, for those who don't know, next to the Frost Bank Center, there's another smaller venue called the Freeman Coliseum. Renovations to that grounds, those areas, and then Prop B is the entertainment district, which includes a proposed Spurs downtown arena. And this November election will basically let the residents vote yes or no whether to use funds, for visitors, such as, taxes that'll go to their hotel bills, car rentals, to that, and how it does not impact financially local residents. It's such a great chat. We also get into our projections for the Spurs next season. 25-26 season. Former Mayor Ron Nirenberg will discuss his thoughts, and he gives a pretty lofty goal when it comes to win total. All right, so let's get into it here. Let's go ahead and introduce our guest. Coming up right now is former Mayor Ron Nirenberg. And now let's go ahead and bring in our very special guest, former San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg. Ron, welcome to Locked On Spurs.
Great to be with you, Jeff.
Glad to have you back. How you been, buddy? You been all right?
I'm doing well. Life's a little bit different. I'm here at Trinity University teaching class, but I'm staying involved nonetheless.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, and I'm pretty sure you're staying involved and keeping your ear out with Project Marvel. We'll get into that in a few minutes. Ron, any way, you want to share any socials that you want to have fans reach out to you in case they have questions about what we're going to talk about?
Sure. I mean, if people want to find me online through social media, pretty much all my usernames are Ron _ Nirenberg. So look forward to hearing from folks.
Easy do that, because we're going to dive right into it right now. Now, for those of y'all who do not know, first of all, you're living in San Antonio. How do you not know? But if you're not, we'll briefly recap. Ahead of San Antonio November election is a vote where residents will vote on a Prop A, Prop B. In essence, it's a facilitation, construction, financing, a entertainment district that includes the Spurs Arena, a new one, and other facets to it, such as updating the Freeman Coliseum on the east side of San Antonio, how it will be funded, more on that later, and so much more. Now, that is just a quick and dirty summation there, but basically November, going to be a big vote for San Antonio and its future. Ron, let's go to dive into it here. By now, if you're in San Antonio, residents should have a familiarity of the big old term sheet. Remember that? The city council was all about that. They put it up for a vote. It was passed, and now the Spurs term sheet that they submitted to City Council has been accepted. Again, a quick and dirty summation, but Rod, it just feels that there's still this persistent confusion over that term sheet. Why do you think that is? How do we clear this up for those who are just scratching their heads saying, what? No, wait, I don't understand this. I ain't going to vote yes for this.
No, I think there's persistent confusion because it's complex. I mean, we're dealing with a combination of local priorities and state law. And so as it relates to the funding and the revenue streams that are being used for these improvements, not just the arena, but also Freeman and the former Frost Bank Center, as well as a bunch of downtown venues. These are dealing with tourism revenues. So taxes derived from people who stay at hotels in our city and rent cars in our city. In addition to that is state revenue that would otherwise be going to the state from people who stay in our city. So there's a lot of there's a lot of complexity with regard to the laws that are involved in these two measures. But needless to say, this is all about improving our city, the priorities that we've identified, frankly, over the last 20 years, and we're doing it without impacting local residential taxpayers.
Yeah, and that's been my, I guess, feel/pulse of where Spurs fans, especially, those that are not on the pro Project Marvel side, keep coming to me. They're like, okay, sounds good. It sounds fun, but I don't want to pay for it. I don't want to pay for it. And I keep on hammering to them, like, you're not going to pay for it. Obviously, of course, if you need a rental car, well, yeah, that's going to happen.
Sure.
You're going to pay for that. And it just feels, Ron, that message is not getting through. How do you bridge that gap? Is it simple as talking with you on social media or attending their district council person and talking to them? How do you bridge that gap?
Well, there's also a little bit of confusion because, frankly, this is politics. But the truth of the matter is, it's important how these things are paid for. The state statute, the state statute lays out what certain revenues can be used for in our state. And so when people stay at hotels and they rent cars, those revenues, hot taxes, hotel occupancy taxes, are used for venues that support that industry. And so when you go rent a car in any other city in Texas or frankly across the country, you're paying a portion of those fees go to the communities that support those venues and those activities. A portion of it goes to the local community and some of it goes to the state. In this case, we declared a project finance zone that allows us to retain the dollars that would be going to the state. The same thing is happening in other cities across Texas. So we're finally going to be able to keep our fair share of those tax revenues to improve our facilities and venues here in San Antonio. And it's coming from visitors who come and stay in our hotels and rent cars. If you go and stay in another community and rent cars, you're supporting their facilities. We want to be able to do the same in our city of San Antonio.
Absolutely. Now, I used to live in New York City for close to 20 years. And let me tell you, whenever I did a staycation during my time in New York, I would look at the bill. I'm like, whoa, no wonder why they call it New York City expensive. Because you'll see there, MSG fee, Barclays Center, blah, 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 so you see that. And so, And I that's when the reality hit to me, like, oh, okay, it's basically what's going on in New York and other major cities happening in San Antonio for this proposed arena.
Yeah, and can't emphasize it enough because that's where the confusion is. Local taxpayers are not footing the bill for these projects. It is coming from hotel occupancy taxes, the revenues produced by the tourism industry. We want those revenues to stay in San Antonio and improve our venues. So that's what this is all about. It's not local taxpayer dollars.
Yeah, let's say that one more time, everybody. Not local taxpayer dollars.
It's not local taxpayer dollars.
Here we go.
That's why it's such an incredible opportunity for us to work together with the Spurs to do these improvements, because this actually doesn't even start with the Spurs. This is about our priorities of downtown.
Right.
We have the Alamo project, we have Hemisphere, we've got UTSA being built downtown. We want new parking facilities. We want to bring transit downtown. We want to do all these things in our community to improve the local experience. This is all part of it. And so we're using the revenues from tourism to be able to help support all those priorities.
Hey, let's talk about Monarch Money. Most people can't name their financial accounts or even know what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And whether you don't have the full picture, you could end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you've been putting off organizing your finances, Monarch will help you. How about this? Monarch does the heavy lifting. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. Hey, can you identify that you're not saving as much as you thought? Monarch can help you. They'll give you a notice of insufficient investment allocation and discover forgotten 401ks from past jobs. Maximizing investments, increasing your savings rate. You can easily review your finances with your partner or financial advisor, keeping a clear view of your financial health week to week and long term. Look, don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONNB.
No, Ron, this has been in the works for quite a while. I believe it was during your administration. It's kind of like your baby that's you're seeing still get born and grow up. Hopefully, will pass in November.
It predates me, frankly, Jeff, because we've been talking about how do we improve Hemisphere for a really long time. That's why I said almost 2 decades. We've been doing community meetings, strategic planning for that downtown area. So all these projects are beginning to happen. This is the biggest step forward we've ever taken. And oh, by the way, we're going to do it with revenues produced by visitors and revenues being brought to the table by the Spurs themselves.
Yeah, and again, obviously, I just to save a little time with Ron here, I just gave a quick and dirty summation. But a little key point here is the current term sheet, Ron. It's binding on both parties, meaning if they come together and things are still not groovy and they're not there aligned, then hey, we can go back to the drawing board.
Right. So the term sheet outlines the parameters of the deal. They actually have to go put that now into legal contracts. And so the city council, will, by passing a term sheet, says to the city manager and the negotiators, okay, get this deal done, put it in writing, make it all legally binding. So that's what the city council voted on. That's why the term sheet was so important. We wanted to make sure our priorities of the public were in there. They are, and now they're going to go do the deal.
And again, another part of the confusion, if I had to rank it, this would be number 2. It is the feedback I get is, well, how do I know for a fact that the Spurs are going to do that? If it's not legally binding, well, then they can legally just not do it. But then you look at, but it's their own term sheet. It literally says in their term sheet that says we're committing billions of dollars, millions of dollars for this and millions of dollars for that. So there you have it in black and white. It just sometimes it can be a little frustrating because there it is, black and white.
And also the revenues that the Spurs are bringing to the table. So it's $1.4 billion of additional development that the Spurs themselves are guaranteeing, as well as the $500 million that the Spurs are putting into the arena. Those 2 components have to be in place before the revenues and the economic activity produce the construction of the arena. And so these guarantees are actually guarantees or the arena doesn't even get built.
There you have it. We're talking with former San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg. He is here on Locked On Spurs to pretty much catch us up on Project Marble, maybe clear some things up. And later on the show, we'll figure out and he'll tell you how you can get involved if you want to get out the vote and so much more. By the way, Ron, I want to thank you to me, San Antonio's Nerd Ambassador right before you left office last year. I asked District 1 Core if she's able to go ahead and continue that, and she just said it gave me the blessing. So it's still going forward, Ron. It's still going forward. All right. Let's go ahead and continue talking about Project Marble. So we kind of have the idea. I think a lot of the residents understand at least the basics. But one thing that I think doesn't get hammered much is how much could this vault San Antonio into the stratosphere? Let's just say November comes, it passes, and away we go. Once completed, I mean, it's almost like San Antonio is on the map, but then there's putting a tack on the map, and then there's putting a freaking 2x4 through the map.
Yeah. Well, so I look at it in a number of different ways, Jeff. And San Antonio already has one of the most unique and magical downtowns in America. We have, the World Heritage Site, the Alamo, which is one of the most recognizable sites in the world. world. We have a Riverwalk, which continues to be one of the most popular destinations in America. We have a UTSA downtown campus, which is going to be a flagship University of Texas institution building in downtown San Antonio. I mean, the list goes on. The Alamo Dome continues to be on the rotation for Final Fours, even though it needs to be upgraded. So we already have a great downtown. But here's the thing: we're missing out on the experience for locals. We're also watching other communities gain on us in terms of being able to track some of the big events. We were told by the NCAA that if we don't improve and bring the Alamo Dome up to standards of competition, then we're not going to have those events anymore. So there are things that we have to do to continue to improve our downtown to make it better for locals. I mentioned transit. I mentioned improved parking. I mentioned and the improvements of park space, which is also one of the priorities of Hemisphere. This is why Project Marvel, what it's been called, is so important, and why it's a leap forward, as you said, for our downtown. It includes all of those things. It helps us to improve on all those priorities that we have, but it uses revenues from visitor and tourism industry activity. And it uses revenues from the Spurs, our partner, in bringing them downtown into an arena that, frankly, they probably should never have left. So, this is a win-win-win all the way around. But the best part of all this is that it brings our downtown into a phase that we have been dreaming about for the longest time. And again, capturing all of the elements that make San Antonio unique and special in the world.
Yeah. And you look at that, that being the current debate, pro Marvel, not Marvel, vote yes, vote no.
Yeah.
But it's almost like those that are, kind of hesitant, maybe against it. It's like their concerns in an odd way can help benefit the pro side, because, okay, we hear your concerns. Here's how we can address it. And I can address it by clarifying what's going on in the term sheet, clarifying things that will be coming up soon as the campaign has begun, as you're well aware of, and so much more. So it's like their concerns are almost a path to progress for Project Marvel, Ron.
Yeah, and the concerns that I hear from folks, there's a couple of main concerns. Number one is they're concerned that this will come from their tax dollars, and that is not the case. And so I can't say and emphasize enough, this is coming from the Spurs as well as tourism and visitor revenue. Unless you stay at a local hotel or rent a car here in our city, your revenues are your money is not going to go to build this arena or to do other elements of the Project Marvel. So that's number one. Your tax dollars are not being impacted by these developments. The second one is, what are the opportunity costs? If we do this, are we missing out on the opportunity to improve flood control? Are we missing out the opportunity to do housing, transit improvements? And the answer to that is absolutely not. I spent the last 8 years as mayor reprioritizing our city resources on the fundamentals. So in November 2020, people went to the ballot to support mass transit in San Antonio for the first time. We are constructing mass transit in San Antonio. The north-south and the east-west line are going to actually intersect in downtown in the footprint of these developments. We have a model housing program in the city of San Antonio now. We are bonding for housing. We are creating affordable housing in every corner of the city. And then when it comes to flood control, this is something that we're doing in partnership with Bexar County. That's an ongoing effort. And that's what actually our local bond dollars for construction, the ones that actually we support, are going to continue to do. So there's no opportunity costs here. In fact, what we're doing with Project Marvel is supporting all the other elements of our downtown and our economy that helps support and bring revenues into the things that we use for the fundamentals of the city. So the opportunity costs are, do we want to achieve our own goals for downtown? And then, of course, the revenue situation, it is not coming from local taxpayers' tax bills.
And that's exactly why you've been a champion of this project, because it sounds like to me what you're saying, basically, this is a good deal for taxpayers.
Absolutely. I think, again, when I look at this, for the last 2 decades, we have been identifying the improvements we want to see in downtown. This hits every single mark. creating placemaking opportunities, bringing transit, ensuring that we have more housing available in downtown. All of these things are happening with the benefit of Project Marvel. And by the way, it's coming from tourism and visitor taxes, as well as the Spurs. I mean, I can't emphasize enough how unprecedented the Spurs' direct investment in this project is. You won't find that in any other city. Over $2 billion directly from the Spurs to help improve our city. That's a win-win in my book, by any measure.
It's about 5-Hour Energy. Caffeine just got a flavor upgrade. 5-Hour Energy shots deliver tasty caffeine in 17 bold flavors. Each 2-ounce shot packs the caffeine with a premium 12-ounce cup of coffee, plus B vitamins and nutrients with 0 sugars, 0 crashes. What I love most is how portable they are. Big taste, tiny shot, and you can take it in whenever you need that boost and when you need it. Hey, you know what? Why don't you find your favorite flavor? What if it's original? What if it's a berry? There's so many flavors to choose from. You'll have your favorite flavor in no time. And here's the thing about 5-Hour Energy Shot. It kicks in fast, sugar-free. You don't have to worry about crashing later. Enough with boring, flavorless caffeine. It's time to give your caffeine a flavor upgrade with 5-Hour Energy Shots. Pick the favorites you love and be bold and try something new in-store and online at www.5hourenergy.com or Amazon today.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, we're joined by former San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg. He is here on Locked On Spurs, again, discussing Project Marvel, clarifying the persistent confusion that some residents still have as the November vote keeps on just inching closer and closer and closer. And before you know it, everybody, it'll be time for, showtime. So hopefully everything gets passed in November. I have a few more questions here for you, Mayor. I think you kind of already answered this, though, because what would you say to residents who really feel that the money should be used for, school, housing, streets, sidewalks? But I guess you kind of answered it. But if you could just add a little bit more clarification to that.
So as it relates to the hot taxes, the hotel occupancy taxes, the venue taxes, et cetera, those are delineated by state law. And so they were created for the purpose of improving venues just like this. As it relates to the TERS, which is that area around Hemisphere, that revenue that's being used for these projects is only produced by the Spurs investment. Otherwise, it's not even that revenue doesn't even exist. And so all the things that are producing the revenue to support these projects are because of this project actually taking place. And so, when it comes to local residential taxpayer dollars, those are going to continue to go towards sidewalks and streets and parks, et cetera. I can't emphasize that enough. Local taxpayer dollars are not going to be impacted by Project Marvel.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, everybody, you heard them right there. Financially not gonna impact local residents. So keep that in mind as we move forward, and of course, as the November vote inches closer. The Spurs. We saw the term sheet. They're coming in a lot of money, not just toward the construction, but for community impact as well. Ron, I have never, ever seen an NBA team give this kind of deal for a new arena, whether it's in a downtown area or wherever it is. I mean, can you talk about how much the Spurs really want this to happen? And not just for them, obviously they're a business. I get that, but also to continue being the anchor for San Antonio.
Yeah, I mean, there are plenty of examples of arenas and stadiums being built with a lot of private capital. And that's what's happening here. In fact, from the Spurs directly, they're putting in $500 million directly to the arena. What's different here, though, is that this started because we want to improve our downtown. And what I have not seen is the level of investment that the Spurs are directly making, over $1.4 billion directly into our downtown improvements. So it's beyond even the arena. They're committing to helping us develop our downtown in accordance with the strategic plan that the communities have put together over the last 2 decades. That's what's different. And, when you say, you've never seen an NBA team do that kind of thing. You're right, Jeff. I haven't either.
Yeah.
I haven't seen any professional franchise do that.
None.
But that again kind of tells you, and is another example of the kind of quality organization that is in our backyard, that has been partners with the San Antonio community for 5 decades now. The San Antonio Spurs are different. They're community partners. They're vested in this community. And then Project Marvel is another demonstration of that unprecedented amount of investment they're putting in directly, besides the arena, into our own downtown improvements.
Yeah. Even until this week, you saw what they did to help the Hemisphere area by having the McCombs family and other partners coming together and creating.
And not just the development. Let's also talk about the $75 million they're committing to early childhood education. That's also part of this term sheet approval. Then another element that's not getting done, that's not being talked about, is there is a federal building that's going to be on the market that's part of this Hemisphere footprint. They're giving us the dollars, $30 million, to go ahead and purchase that property to bring it into our public space. So, even beyond the $1.5 billion for development, they're contributing to this project to improve the San Antonio community. It is not hyperbole to say that this is unprecedented. The level of investment that the San Antonio Spurs are making to the city of San Antonio and into this community.
What about the Frost Bank Center? Let's just say everything gets past November and away we go. What will be the future of the Frost Bank Center be?
Yeah, well, so here's the reality of what's occurred on the east side over the last few years, the last couple of decades, at the Freeman Coliseum site and the AT&T Center, now Frost Bank Center site. We have 2 very important, viable professional sporting activities happening there: the San Antonio Spurs and the San Antonio Livestock Show and Rodeo, 2 of the best of the best. Unfortunately, both of those calendars, both of those organizations are squeezed when they share the site. And so this is also going to enable is the San Antonio Livestock Show and Rodeo to, I think, reclaim the crown that they had for over a decade, which is to be the best rodeo in the country, indoor rodeo in the country. And so they're going to be able to expand their calendar. They're also going to be able to invest time and resources into that footprint to make the Frost Bank Center in the Freeman Coliseum grounds one of the premier, if not the premier, site for indoor rodeo, which again is probably the most successful of all sporting activities in our community.
Yeah, it's like, again, like for those on the east side thinking like, oh, what about us? Well, he just answered it right there,
And that's just the direct site, the venues themselves. What's great about this also, Jeff, and you made the point, the critiques are helping us be better. We know that there are unfulfilled expectations of improvements on the east side. What this is allowing us to do now is to go back and make those guarantees, make those changes that should have been done, that people expected to be done a long time ago, commit to improvement of the east side for the community, not just for sports. And that's what this whole thing is allowing us to do as well.
Yeah, exactly. And it can still be a very viable venue outside of just basketball. For example, I attended the recent Noche UFC fights at the Frost Bank Center, and there was a lot of national and international media that I was able to meet for the first time. And to a T, Ron, I'm not kidding you. They have said they have covered the UFC for years, and they never heard a louder reception, a louder screaming fans than the Frost Bank Center. So it can still be a viable resource.
Absolutely. And the attention and the resources now going into the east side will allow us to fulfill the expectations that people and neighbors in that area have had for a very long time. And the scrutiny that will be on that process will allow us to be sharper and better for the neighbors, the local residents of that community, not just the sports that take place there.
One thing that stood out for me was after that, open mic during city council meeting about the term sheet, is after it passed and everything, that really stood out for me, outside of the fact that it passed. So yay, thumbs up. But after all of that, you saw Spurs, Peter J. Holt in the lobby. He could have taken off. He could have left. He could have said, okay, my job's done. I'm back to work. Yeah. No, he took time to talk to a resident who was not particularly happy at Project Marvel and tried to help her. So even in that one little example, you still see how much the Spurs are about the community, even if they disagree. They're going to talk to them. They're going to reach out, which leads me to my next question, Ron, is how can residents, fans just get involved in helping this Prop A and B pass in November?
Yeah, I think the most important thing is to take a look at the information and make sure you read up on it. There is a lot of confusion, a lot of chatter out there.
There is.
The best and most accurate sources of information are not always social media. But make sure you're aware of what's going on, Prop A and Prop B. And then go talk to your neighbors about, what we're talking about here, some of the myths that people have about, this is going to be on my local tax bill. It's not. This is going to be visitors and tourists who come to our city producing the revenues that otherwise are going to go back to the state. So let's retain it here. Let's improve our venues. Let's keep the Spurs at the table and utilize their revenues also to improve our city. So really, it's just talking to neighbors. That is the difference maker in elections, making sure that people have the right information and go vote. November 4th is the election day, but there's going to be 10 days of early voting prior to that.
I was going to ask you, though, because like you mentioned, this has been in the work for decades, so it leaked into your term. How have you seen it evolve from what it was to now? What areas have you seen it evolve?
Yeah. So, and when I say decades, it is true because we've been talking about the improvements of Hemisphere for a couple of decades now, and community's been at the table. We've been working on the strategic plans together, the vision for that together. But what's important and what's different here is that now that you have all these major activities taking place, we have UTSA, we have the Alamo redevelopment, we have the improvements of the Alamo Dome and the Convention Center. We now have the opportunity with the Spurs leaving the Frost Bank Center to bring them back downtown to the urban core. They are doing that not just willingly, they're putting their own money to do it. And we're using revenues that would otherwise go to the state. So that's what's really different here, is that the opportunity to create a win-win-win and really vault our downtown area into what we have envisioned for a very, very long time. So that's the opportunity here. The time is now, and it's being built on top of all of these fundamental improvements that we've been making to housing, transit, improvements of street infrastructure, et cetera. There's so much angst out there about street construction, but let me tell you, that is because we've been underinvesting in street infrastructure for a long time in this community. We're finally rectifying that. And so we're improving all of these things, and it's going to be wonderful for local residents. That's the bottom line. It's not about tourism. We're using tourism revenue, but this is about improving our city for our people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when I have visions of San Antonio, just being bigger and badder and better. And I think this is a great way to start realizing that, because like Sean said during that city council meeting, it's time for San Antonio to be the spot in Texas, the city, and I completely agree with them.
It's at our fingertips, Jeff. And the revenues are there, not from local residents, but from tourists and from the Spurs themselves. So it is as close to a near perfect opportunity.
It is.
It's as good as I had hoped it would be, and now it's time to vote.
Not trying to end this conversation with you on a rain on the parade note, but it is a reality. What if it doesn't pass in November? Then what?
Obviously, we always will reassess, but I don't think about that. I think about what we need to do to go ahead and win the day. And in this case, get our goals, our dreams realized, which are right at our fingertips. All of us, our entire community is vested in this vision, and we can all go get it together.
Absolutely. Once again, he is former San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg, right here on Locked On Spurs, catching you up on all things Project Marvel, clearing the air, making things crystal clear as possible. But again, if you do have questions, you just leave it here on Locked On Spurs. I can relay them to Ron here, and maybe he can help me help you understand things a little better. Hey, Ron, before I let you go, and by the way, thank you so much for helping us understand Project Marvel more and a clearer vision here. But got to talk to you about the upcoming season. Got to talk to you about how are you feeling? word of the street is they're about to sign you, because you're the only guy that can take Wemby in the post. How you feel about the upcoming season?
Believe me, that would not upgrade the Spurs, so don't worry about that. I feel great. I mean, you look up and down the roster from obviously Wemby and De'Aaron Fox and Stephen Castle, our veterans who are still not even in their prime yet, and they have the additions that they've done through free agency and the last couple of drafts. I mean, this is an all-star team in the making, just the Spurs, and so I'm really excited. Maybe they make the vault into playoff contention this year, but it's exciting to watch them just continue to grow together because you feel greatness starting to emerge on that team on every spot in the roster. So I'm really excited. Even the losses are easier to watch just because they're more competitive and you can see the growth happening from game to game. But super excited team to watch. And I'm thrilled. I know they're going to make a significant jump in the win-loss standings this year.
They are, yeah. I think last check, and obviously everybody, if I'm wrong, y'all will correct me. Trust me, Ron, the fans are quick to correct. Vegas has them projected to win about 44, 45 games, which in theory should get them at minimum like a high play-in seed, like 7, right up there. So, which is good because for me personally, I'm like, I don't care how you get in the playoffs, Spurs, just get in the playoffs. So if you get in and a 1 through 6 seed, thumbs up. If you get in via the play-in, I don't care. Just get in there because I think they need to start taking their lumps on that level of basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they can get synced on the court, I'm thinking that 50 is the watermark this year.
Yeah.
That's the potential I think I see. I mean, look, I'm not on the court, but their only hindrance is just working on team chemistry because they just haven't been together that long. But how much have the other teams improved? Not nearly as much as the Spurs have. And so I'm looking forward to a really exciting season. If everybody can stay healthy, they continue to learn to play together, and everybody gets their roles. Mitch is going to be in his second full year, so lots of things to look forward to.
Yes, right. Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, he is a rookie head, and technically now a rookie NBA head coach. Last year he was an interim head coach.
The players are learning his style too, so there's going to be a lot of growth that we see this year, I think.
Yeah, and then it's all about Wemby. I think I think he's just going to really show why he was that number 1 pick this upcoming season. Rookie season, fine. Last season, blood clots. Get that. Yeah, but he's 100% free and clear. So,
and he's getting yoked too.
Gee, yeah. Almost as big as you and me. But here's the other thing too. Now I know we're running out of time. I just get when I start thinking Spurs, I started going like a freaking tumbleweed here. Keep on going here. I don't, Ron. I think the entire city of San Antonio. They know I'm a huge nerd. Every time there's like a major Comic-Con in the city, I'm usually the MC for it. But did you know that Wemby is the voice of a basketball alien in the TV show Futurama?
I did not know that, but that doesn't surprise me. The guy is just he's a phenom. I mean, a perfect character for the Spurs and a stand-up guy. I'm proud that he's a San Antonian.
Me too. But look at that. Ron's got 50 wins on the season for the Spurs, which is attainable. They can do it. But we shall see. Once again, he is former San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg right here on Locked On Spurs. Ron, before we go, any final thoughts you want to relay to the fans and residents about Project Marvel?
Just again, please go vote. Talk to your neighbors. Make sure that they understand this is not local resident taxpayer dollars. This is visitor revenues. And the Spurs themselves making our community great for local residents. So go vote yes on Props A and B, and let's see our city become what we've all aspired it to be.
Absolutely. And don't forget to be cheering Ron next year when he put in that uniform for the Spurs running point guard with Wemby and
not happening, Jeff.
Oh, darn. Hey, but anyway, all jokes aside, Ron, thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to join us here on Locked On Spurs, getting the word out to the residents, the fans, clearing up confusion. And again, if you have questions for him, again, he is on social media. I think it's just simply Ron_Nirenberg. Is that what it was?
That's right.
That's right.
Yep.
Just follow him there, send him a question. But if you don't, you can always relay to me. I can get it to him and we'll take it from there. And again, go vote this upcoming November. Everybody else, thank y'all for making Locked On Spurs your first listen each and every day. Free and available wherever you get podcasts, iTunes, Spotify, Kensfy Plus app, YouTube. You know what to do. Subscribe ASAP. We'll be back tomorrow talking all things silver and black as the season is right around the corner. Ron has 50. I got 45. I'm thinking Vegas. Vegas is always right.
Spurs go either way.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Either way, it's go Spurs go. On that note, all right, so for Ron Nirenberg, I am Jeff Garcia. We're going to put a lock on this episode of Locked On Spurs.